All right, we should be live. Should. We'll see how technology is cooperating. Yay! Everything appears to be working, including my mic. I still haven't gotten a pop filter yet, or I took the one off from last week. It was very in my face. I need to get like the sock one that just goes over the mic. But yeah, I haven't streamed in a while, so let's see what is going or has been going on inside of Shiftmon while we're waiting for people to file in. All right, I don't think I've streamed since like last year. Haha, dad joke. Um, nah, but seriously, I haven't streamed in a minute, so let's. I want to say it's probably been since like Christmas. I could actually look super quick. Proving health checks. This was posted on public. Yeah, whatever. Like November 18th, like my birthday. Jesus. It's been a minute. Oh no, I did the woodpecker stream after that. That's right. So that was streamed 4 weeks ago. So that would be about. We'll start on the 14th. So this guy. Oh yeah. So we have nut support now. So we have nut support now. So now you can actually instrument your UPS. And there was actually recently, after I got my UPS set up and I had made this dashboard, there was also support added for another, some more features and some more metadata. So eventually we added this. So now you can see the utilization of the unit, the time remaining. So if the power were to cut right now, how much time would be on the power supply, the status, the capacity, the charge. You can actually look at the frequency and the voltage over time for both the input and the output side, which is really neat. And then this metadata is mostly, this will vary by vendor, but show like the vendor ID and stuff like that. So you could actually see what the UPS is without having to get up or SSH into anything. Which, if you have one UPS, it's not that big of a deal because it's just like SSHing versus going to Grafana. But as your fleet grows, it's more handy to have like one central dashboard where you could just go to this right here. But I don't have multiple UPSs at this time to like demonstrate that. But everything should be variabled out, and there's no more hard-coded variables in here, which is nice. Yeah, I do apologize for the level of cringe with the joke. Let's see. We got free IPA logging, which is super nice. Shouldn't be anything sensitive in this besides just the fact that I have an unhealthy free IPA check going. So the cool thing about this one, this will actually instrument free IPA by installing the free IPA check utility that's in most repos, and you'll actually get the logs from the unhealthy check so you can see that there's no DNA range defined. So you can see that it's something with replication. And then you can see that the master is happy. So, and then if you wanted to see all the logs, you can go here. And if this is too narrow for you, you can obviously pop that out into Explore and see that it was filtered by host and get the status of all the checks individually. So let's see what else we got here. Telegraph automation got added. guess I haven't. I guess that was Christmas too. So as far as like having checks and stuff going, it's been a holiday, and also I've had a whole bunch of life happen, so I haven't worked a ton on observability stuff. But what I have been playing with, and why I'm doing this stream tonight, is I've been revisiting Proxmox. So I tried doing Kubernetes using K0s, and that was a whole lot of work for not a lot of benefit in my use case, because it's a super small, like, I don't scale out that far, and that's where Kubernetes really starts to shine. And so making my virtual machines more available is seeming like a more appealing path. And then in order to get like that constant learning and growing, I could automate provisioning resources in there using OpenTofu, which is the Rage fork of Terraform. And I say Rage fork because it wasn't a happy like fork. It was HashiCorp changed the licensing of all their products to not be open source anymore. So it was not happy. All right. So what we're going to be doing to generate log information and also to generate some guest information is using Terraform. So we have these 3 lovely containers right here, and it would be a shame if something happened to them. So we run Terraform destroy. We enter yes. Nice thing about Terraform is that it will OpenTofu. I'm going to slip that up a bunch, is that it'll actually enumerate all the resources that you're destroying too. So all of those are gone. Boo. So we're starting from a clean slate. We have the Proxmox metrics that are configured here. And I noticed that the documentation was kind of hard to find. Also, there's still references to like Nginx here. So I think these definitely need updated. Because this Shift1 hasn't used Nginx in God knows how long. So log in to the data center with the root account. That part's going to be true no matter what. So we're logged in. The root or administrative account. So we want to click on data center. So that part still hasn't changed. We're going to go to the metric server submenu. Click add, InfluxDB, name it. So we'll name it Shiftmon. So server, the host name of your InfluxDB server, which I could also do there. Out authentication. Okay. So server is going to be that. Port 8428. Protocol for HTTP. Then I don't think it allows for InfluxDB v1 anymore. Organization doesn't matter for InfluxDB v1. Okay, so bucket has to be Proxmox. And organization needs to be spelled right. Organ is Jesus. We're spelling suggestions. Organ, that one. Organization should probably has to be capitalized. Doesn't matter for InfluxDB1. bucket. Okay, so we should be able to do username : password. And we should also spell authentication, right? Organization. This field is not used since are using the influx dbv1 endpoint in Victoria metrics, which doesn't, or which ignores the organization field. Bucket, Proxmox. So this one has to be accurate. This has to be accurate in order to support, whatchamacallit. This has to support, or this has to be accurate in order for this to show up in the dashboard, because most of the variables rely on filtering out. Oh, this doesn't actually. JSON model. Huh. Bucket, Proxmox. Yeah, we'll just leave that there just so it's easier to filter through. Because I think bucket is what will map to the DB tag. So if I were to like pop this out and explore. So let's do DB. We should have a, oh, this one gets ignored too. DB name. It's wild. Okay. Bucket. Be anything. This is ignored by influx dbv1 endpoint, or this field is not used. All right, so now we need to test this part right here. I need to see if the, okay, crap. So I can't test this part on stream because that'll leak a secret, which I freaking hate applications that just like casually throw credentials in plain text. That's super not cool. We'll see if it shows up on screen though, if it's like redacted. Telegraph agent. Okay, so that does show up. Poop. Okay, well then we are going to need to do that off screen at least. Perfect. Okay. So adding a metrics server in Proxmox, and this is a title. So it should be capitalized. Proxmox is a proper noun. Good. This field is not used. I set this. Set it to backticket Proxmox, but this field is not used. I like that. Bucket, but this field is not used, which ignores the bucket fields. plain for unencrypted and unauthenticated metrics set to 443 for authenticated and encrypted metrics. And then I think protocol needs to get set to server port. All right. Then there's the protocol, yeah. Protocol, HTTP for, I'm just gonna copy paste this a bunch. For encrypted and authenticated. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I can just copy this line and then replace HTTP for, and then actually spell authenticated, and this does not need to be cased. Authenticated. There we go. Okay, so server host name of your InfluxDB server, HTTP for unencrypted, then HTTPS for encrypted and authenticated, port 8428, and encrypted metrics, HTTP for unencrypted and unauthenticated, set to 443 for authenticated and encrypted metrics, organization. Set it to Proxmox, put this fields. Token. Leave blank for unauthenticated. I cannot spell authenticated. Authenticated. Oh, am I forgetting the, yeah. For unauthenticated metrics for encrypted authenticated metrics, use the for authenticated metrics, use HTTPS or use, this one's hard to articulate because it's like use the username and password, or use the pattern username : password for any of the HTTP users in Shiftmon. I think that works. For authenticated users, set the token field to username : password, where username, or the username and password are any of the users you listed in your Shiftmon inventory. So that should work. You can test that out. I don't know if that works for Trafic or not, but I can try that out super quick. Obviously I'll have to do this part off stream, but so metrics shift systems dot And I think I need to actually redeploy it. Yeah, so this is a local CA, which also means that, whatchamacallit, that Proxmox will freak out with SSL errors. So there's probably a really good blog post to be had about why running your own internal CA is a pain in the butt in current year. Because for a while, everything in my lab had a Let's Encrypt, had a SSL certificate from my free IPA CA, and it was fine until I stopped using mini PCs or like home theater PCs, and I switched to Roku's, which made my tinfoil hat, like poked a hole in my tinfoil hat, so I wasn't too happy about that, but the usability is a million times better on Roku. But then like Jellyfin wouldn't work over SSL or TLS. So that sucked. So I need to make a change. I think there's secrets inside of the URL, or inside of my Ansible job, so I have to do it off stream. Or did I fix it so that there's no secrets? I don't know. I don't want to find out. It's basically just the inventory for Shiftmon. I'll show the diff here in a second. Victoria. So I'm just basically I'm just commenting out the SSL certs. So now we go to here, then we go to commits. So we're going to rerun the deployment, but now we're going to rerun it where there's no private, or there's no like hard-coded SSL keys, which then Trafic will be like, oh, I'm responsible for this, and then get a Let's Encrypt cert. So now we go to Woodpecker, we go to Ansible jobs, run pipeline, role name, Shiftmon, and then we will be on our merry way. So now in like a couple minutes, this should be squared away. So during that time, we are going to root at Ymir. Yes. We are going to do some syslog forwarding. So normally what happens with like a vanilla Linux install of Shiftmon is that Telegraph will listen for syslog messages on a local UDP port, and then traffic will get forwarded there. But since Proxmox is an appliance loosely based on Debian, we can use the influx data instructions for forwarding syslog, but we're just going to forward it over to a remote host. You can do this over SSL, and I will do that a different day because that's how you should do it. And plain text syslog is bad. This is just over my LAN, so it's not. It is the best worst case scenario. I don't know. I don't know the best way to describe it. Not the end of the world, I think, is the thing I'm actually looking for, or the turn of phrase I'm actually looking for. So influxdb syslog server. So which are syslog system ctl status syslog. What the heck? I thought they had syslog system ctl status grep syslog. Okay, so there is There is some form of syslog happening here. Telegraph, syslog, input. There we go. So I think syslog is actually happening. Yeah, with dbus. So we need to apt-tac y, install our syslog. Could use syslog in G, but the default is not great. So yeah, you can do some cooler stuff. Syslog NG is better for certain use cases like remote syslog forwarding. But the default config sucks and building your own is more work. Whereas you can just be like apt-tac y install our syslog and then it's fine for local syslog. But remote forwarding, I've seen it where it will just like drop a couple packets and then just be like, nope, I'm done. I'm done forwarding messages, which is like, could you at least try? I know it's over UDP, but please. I actually know his TCP would give up. It was really dumb. Anyway, status. Does it automatically start on Debian? Cool, it does. So we don't have to go over that because I think it's, yeah, it's present and it's enabled and it's started. So we don't have to do anything there. So now we need to add in etc our syslog.d vi. Nope, not you. 50 shiftmon.conf. So we are in insert mode. I think I have remote syslog turned on. And then, all right, this is just awful. I'm installing Vim. apt tac y. I'll do nano. R syslog.d 50 shiftmon conf. I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty proficient with VI and Vim key bindings, but like vanilla VI on BSD and Debian is just bleh. I need Vim. I need Vim or NeoVim. I'm a pleb. I'm willing to admit my plebness. Okay, so we need to put this on, I believe 666 is the remote host, and then 10.0.0.8. I believe that's the case. Let me check. Armin, cat, Etsy, telegraph, telegraph. .d haven't had to look at this since Jesus. I haven't had to look at this in a while. So, yep, there we go. Hooray. So now we go to here, 10.0.0.8, close out, system, ctl, restart, our syslog. So now we need to document that. appliance does not. I'm going to double check that there's no syslog forwarding supported in the UI, but we'll see. Proxmox. So I think this is all, yeah. Unexpected reboots. If you don't have anything, and varlog, syslog. Okay, cool. So, little disclaimer, the Proxmox appliance does not allow for, or does not have a configuration, or does not have syslog forwarding built in by default. Luckily, Proxmox is built on Debian, so we can install our syslog from the Debian repo and configure it to forward logs to shiftmon. This assumes there is a Telegraph instance with the remote syslog, or that. This assumes you have. So I need to assume that they have configured Telegraph somewhere that Proxmox can get to. So it can forward the logs. So this assumes that Telegraph has been configured with remote syslog true on a box that shiftmon, or that the Proxmox cluster can access on UDP port 3. If there is a firewall on another sentence, if there's a firewall on the box, please make sure that port UDP, or port 1234 is open. Cool. Okay. So that's been disclaimered. Figuring Proxmox. So one. Note these steps will need to be performed on each Proxmox host. 1. Install our syslog. I guess you have to log into the box. Y install syslog. If you can't SSH into the box, may God help your soul. SSH into the Proxmox node. By default, you can SSH in. God, this feels dirty to write. I hate this about Proxmox, but you can SSH in as root with a password. Huge no-no. Don't do this. Ugh, I hate it. By default, you can SSH in as root to a Proxmox node using the root password you use to sign in to the web interface. add the following contents to Etsy r syslog 50 shiftmon.conf. Restart our syslog system ctl restart our syslog. Wait, that's the syslog server config, isn't it? Poop. That would explain a lot. Syslog forwarding to our syslog sending messages to Debian. Do not use this any longer. It is better to use all right. The local system log does not store any messages, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there it is. Port for this is my penance for not doing this sooner, because I remember setting this up one other time and then just not documenting or automating it like an idiot. So what else do we need from this? This will decouple sending from other logging actions and prevent delays in the remote. Is not reachable or undeliverable. The rest below is more of a plain vanilla r syslog config. Okay. Dude, the configs for these are so gnarly. I hate them. BBP, queue size, action, retry count. Many distros ship it. It's more for your reference. Okay. So this should work. System ctl restart our syslog. So now we need to generate some log messages, which we will do with tofu. So we'll do a tofu apply. Yes. So what tofu does and what Terraform still does is it creates a state file, and then there's a long list of providers you could use, and those providers are essentially like modules. So you bring in a provider for your specific infrastructure, Proxmox, libvirt, AWS, OpenStack, whatever. There's a disgusting amount of Terraform modules for like everything. And then what it will do, you add that provider, and then using that provider, Terraform will resolve the difference between your state, what you told the cluster to look like, and then what's actually in the cluster, which is different than Ansible, because Ansible is stateless. So what Ansible does is it just resolves what you've declared inside of your YAML, and then check what's going on the target, and then resolve the difference between the target and what's in the file. And the big difference between not having a state file is that you can't track what you've done in the past. So when you undefine something, it will just ignore it. It pretends like it's not even, it was never there. Whereas if I undefine one of these virtual machines, Terraform or Tofu will go, hey, I see this has been defined in the state file and created on the infrastructure. I need to delete that. Whereas when you undefine something in Ansible, it just stops caring. So that's really not great when you're doing, when you're creating things, because if you don't need a server anymore and you created it using like the Proxmox Ansible content, which is perfectly functional and works fine, but that infrastructure just kind of hangs out there afterward. Hopefully that makes sense. Mention something in the chat if it doesn't. Okay, so now if we go to Grafana, we should be able to poke around in Loki and see if we got metrics. I'm going to use builder because I can do host name and then see what we got. Should see Ymir somewhere in here, maybe. Poop. So let's check the journal out. Journal CTL UR syslog F. So it exited and it started. Hooray. Let's check to make sure that remote syslogs sudo system CTL status firewall D. Okay, so that there might be a problem. Firewall D rule. We'll do it on the CLI. Normally I do it with Cockpit. So sudo firewall cmd. I think you can do a list. Yeah. So we do zone, or I think we can just do list all and we don't have to define the zone. Oh, yeah. So we do have port UDP 666 open. And then sudo lsof in pipe grep. That's not good. Etsy telegraph remote. I wonder if that port's getting renamed in LSOF. Is it Plano? Yeah. So there is an open connection on that port, so that's good. Sudo journal CTL u telegraph. Since today. It's a much more manageable size. There's something really interesting going on with tail, apparently. So let's make sure tail f var log syslog. Yep, so we are getting kernel messages. So we should see something in here from a different host. Might have just needed to give it a little bit more time to populate. It's still not showing anything, which is weird. Mail, Peak, Rhina, Zeke. So remote syslog is working. Because if that's our firewall, but if we go to host, it's coming from Armin. So we should be having syslog coming in from somewhere. So what is going on with this then? It's probably my syslog config and it's a skill issue. Yeah, so syslog has been restarted. Let's make sure that etc sys r syslog sorry about the dog. So we have 3 dogs and that leads to some very interesting dynamics. Like pack dynamics, and our resident male will guard the food. And even though she has her own bowl upstairs and our foster has his own bowl, our resident female will just like start barking up a storm at him. He's like, hey, stop guarding my food. She's also, it's called a fake Shiba. So Shiba Inus are like notoriously aloof and they're usually pretty chill with like just being off on their own and doing their own thing. Well, yeah, she's not like that, which kind of stinks. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that kind of stinks. It's pretty awesome most of the time, but when like I need to work or if like my wife and I both need to work, she'll just like sit in front of my desk and bark. And it's usually my desk too. Cause like I'm a huge softie. So she'll just like walk right up next to me and just bark every minute. It's super distracting. But the upside is like whenever I sit down on the couch or lay in bed, she's just like cuddled at my feet. Like she just sits there like a little croissant tied or at my feet, and it's the most wholesome thing ever. Kernel logging support. I don't want reception. I want forwarding. Dang it. So yes, include everything in rsyslogd.conf. Which includes action. Oh my God. I see it now. Helps if you actually send it to the right IP address. 8 UDP systemctl restart rsyslog journal ctlu rsyslog tacf. Okay. So now we can destroy those machines and I can kind of go back to my open tofu tangent. So these are the 3 machines. And if I go through, there's secrets in this file for now. I need to clean that up. But if I go through, or I can show vars.tf. Yes, I can. So this is the list of containers that it's supposed to deploy. If I comment out Falco, so that's undefining it. And now if I do a tofu apply, it will change one and destroy one. Voila. So in Ansible, again, if I would have undefined that virtual machine, it would stick around, which it's definitely, Terraform can get hair triggered sometimes. And like you change like one minor configuration option in and it will want to redeploy. But overall, once you adjust to that, it is very handy, because if you're trying to deploy hundreds of systems or thousands of systems, or just like you have a lot of churn in your infrastructure, Terraform can make that way more manageable, because you just have to undefine something and then it goes away. It's super powerful. Micah, who's a frequenter in chat, is a huge Nix fan. And Nix behaves the same way. When you undefine something, it disappears. So that can be jarring sometimes with infrastructure. And you can end up where you have to like clean up the state. But overall, it's a better experience for large numbers of systems. So yeah, now we should have, or we should be able to find host name, or we want to refresh this. Host name. That was way too fast. Come on, come on. Aw, come on. Come on. Source. Ten dot 16. That's not it. So yeah, we should see a different source IP address in here. But the other cool thing we can do with Terraform is also destroy everything at once. Or tofu, destroy. And then that will actually go through. And I can be like, look, Ma, no hands. And then all those templates and images go away. Then if I put back that mesh, then if I do another apply, I'm trying to make noise in the logs. It just so happens I'm choosing tofu to do it. So then now it's downloading images, we're generating task logs. Then tail F var log syslog. Oh, we're not seeing a bunch here. That's interesting. Ymir, syslog. It's weird. So we should have some data coming from, 53. Try this again, see if it's just like taking a second to index. Host Armin. Come on. Any app name or anything that would indicate that this is working does not look like it. Host name. Whoa. Actually. All right. Who has that IP address? I'll have to check that out off stream. Anyway, I think I need to wrap this up and do some troubleshooting off stream because I need to like ponder on my poorly kept beard. Why the heck isn't this working? So I'll write down what the instructions should be and then I'll update next stream. Restart our syslog for goat. Confirm that logs are flowing by checking out the Proxmox dashboard in your shiftmon instance. So yeah, I'll test to make sure all this actually works and committed off stream. But yeah, I need to deal with the dog and figure out all my metric stuff. It's fun streaming for y'all. Have a good rest of your weekend. Hopefully you don't have a case of the Sunday scaries. And yeah, see ya.